Salam, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, Bismillah, Shaykh. Now we'd like you to just give us the introduction and welcome to. First of all, I'd like to thank you for making this place available for us to come and enter into something of a silence. And even just when we prayed Maghrib together yesterday evening, we tasted some of that silence after the Maghrib. There's a stillness here, a quietness that makes it all conducive, the energy. Bismillah.
Open it a bit if you can. I think that will be good. Bismillah, 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 Bismillah.
Jesus, I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah. To be real, to be honest, to be true, to be correct, implies unifying two different fields of energies. Unifying that which is absolutely true, the absolute, which is constant, never changing, beyond any apprehension and understanding. That is the field of the divine cosmic totality. Connecting that with your present state and moment, which is changing. So to be true, to be honest, to be sincere, is to be able to connect these two, which also others refer to as inner and outer, local, cosmic, all of these different names. Whatever you suffer from, whatever your aspirations are, whatever you hope for, your secrets, your expressed desires, whatever it is in order to bring stability, tranquility, contentment to the so-called you. So the most important thing is to have a better understanding as who are you. My personal conclusion from the Quran, which tallies with all other religions, with all other spiritual paths, doesn't contradict any of them, is that in essence, nothing is ever experienced except as one of two. Awake, sleep, alive, dead, good, bad, I like it, I dislike it, and. Day, night, here, not here, empty, full. Nothing any one of us ever experiences unless it is one of these twos, meaning one part more than the other part. I like it so much, I don't like it. 70%, 20%, 80%. I am happy 60%, unhappy 40%. Breathing in, breathing out. There is never complete out. There is still some air in. There never complete in. There's some out. So these two opposites always are together, but one dominates the other. So the story is that you, I, he, and she is made up of two entities. One is beyond the mind to comprehend. It cannot define it, delineate it. So over the hundreds, if not thousands of years, we gave it all kinds of names that are elusive. Like it is an essence, it's a spirit, it's a light. So it is your soul. Whatever other name you like to give it, give it. But it is something that is the cause of your life. Something that touched you in the womb, whatever, in the egg, as you, depending on the creature, is the plug that provides this entity, which is most complex and most mysterious, called life. Mysterious for many reasons. The most important reason is that it's aware of itself. It is aware of itself. And wherever life appears, there is this amazing, mysterious phenomenon. It wants to continue forever. It propagates, cares for, defends, and for it to continue forever. More or less telling us that its origin, where it has emerged from, this force, this power, is forever, is timeless. So your life, his life, my life, its life, the life of the ant and the mosquito and the fly and the lion, it wants to continue because inherently in it there is this sense of perpetuity, foreverness. Try to catch the fly, it runs away because it's preserving its life. Doesn't trust you. The same thing is with the deer. So once this mysterious thing called life appears, it is obsessed, relentless. Its only main purpose is to continue. Part of that continuation comes also with the development of this thing over millions and millions of years, is perpetuity in a physical sense. So each one of us here in this room is a product of this illusion that is in every human being to perpetuate, have children. So life continues. Physically, I can tell you, here, come, he comes, life continues. We are trying to duplicate, replicate, reproduce that which in its nature is forever. Now the story is that none of you, and millions more like you, will ever be content in a stable and durable sense unless you know, not subject to discussion, hope, prayers, no. You know life is forever and your life is not separate from that life. You will not find many people, not even maybe 3 or 4 or 5, all of your life, who actually know that. There are many pretenses, many hopes, many aspirations, but to actually find someone who really is alive fully, with no concern, no fear, no sorrow, because he or she is basking in the joyful state of knowing and submitting to and embracing the truth that life is forever, with or without you. You are not relevant. And that is why all religious paths, all spiritual paths, all quality teachings and wisdom is serve, help, give, be generous, be kind. Why? An intelligent child who said, no, I want it all for me. Why should I be kind? You're quite right. Because the center of the universe is in them. So the center of the universe doesn't need kindness or unkindness. So a child said, no, I don't want to be kind. Quite right. So the 2-3-year-old with their no, 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 they're quite right. But the parents who have been themselves also being deprived of the truth, because their parents didn't know, so they are deprived of truth, so they teach the child to cheat. No, you can't, So they bribe the child, we'll give you more later, If you are more intelligent, if you keep it for tomorrow, and all that rubbish. So we are not only thieves, we're teaching thievery and lies to everybody else. Because you say, this is an establishment, you can't do that, not nice, not well. So as everything carries on, the usual stupid way it is. And the darkness that you are experiencing globally will continue more and more and more, whereas in truth also, your situation now is much, much, much better than 50 years ago of any other humans. Much better than 1,000 years ago. Where we are sitting here, there's nothing here on this earth, but a few animals roaming, and maybe occasionally a few chiefs around, and the chief could kill anybody anytime. And that's it. Now, globally, it's considered a crime. Great progress has been made in the superficial sense, in preserving the outer integrity of an entity that carries life. So in an outer sense, that's why the cosmetic industry is so big, all outer, nice, and don't say it is not political. So it will reach a point where it begins to move towards the inner. Where people, for their own sake, not because of parents and others, and for your own sake, you don't want to carry any more filters, any more considerations that bring about hypocrisy, lies, and just facelift or face change. No, you don't want to. Let them do what they want. Now, we are in a situation in the world that sameness prevails. Everybody wants to progress, develop, have better money. You will not find a single person in the whole world, I defy you, unless they are locked up in a monastery or dead, or go and ask anybody in the world if they have enough money. No matter how wealthy they are, they will still ultimately admit, yes, no, I could do with more. It's our nature. Why? Because you are two. One is a soul which is exposed to the infinitude, boundlessness, boundless, undefinable, uncontainable wealth, power, knowledge, ability, generosity, all the attributes that you can think of. Your soul has it, knows it. So your soul is beyond limit. So it is giving life to this thing which is limited. It's born, becomes ill, well, and it dies. So the so-called you, the nafs, the identified entity, which is the shadow of your ruh, can never be content. Ever. Because its origin, what gives it life, is not separate from boundlessness. So how can you ever be content? You are an idiot if you really think this, that, and the other can make you content in any durable way. Not true. Relatively short term, yes. If you have pain, you want to remove the pain because you get obsessed by pain. And you don't want to be obsessed by pain. You're obsessed by life. So you want to remove the pain. So of course something else comes. And if it is not pain, it is desires, it's hopes, it's aspirations, it's fears. It is so endless. So you find everybody running around like a stupid creature trying to catch their tail. Never work. That's why I say you'll never find anyone truly, durably content. It can only happen if you transcend the nafs, the so-called you, the shadow you. The light of you has nothing to do with contentment or discontent. Allah is never content nor discontent. Allah is never happy nor unhappy. Allah never desires or undesires. It is another zone where these values do not occur. Pure light. Only when there is a bit of a shadow, then the duality begins, discrimination begins, yes and no begins, I like it, I don't like it begins. If you do not transcend this zone regularly, you are never going to touch the zone of true joy, ever. And this is rare. Quran also confirms that. But you and I and everyone else cannot stop wanting that, because that's our origin, and that's your own soul. Is residing in you, is calling you, is giving you life. So every cell is exposed to it. So everybody wants, hopes, aspires to not only taste that bliss, but know that it is always there. So nothing can take it away. And everything else is secondary to it. So the Quran says, oh human being, you are struggling to your Lord until you come to know it. You meet Him. Now, in a way, your Lord is your own soul. There are countless lords, countless Rabbs, Arbab. The Greek had a wonderful culture whereby they had many hundreds of gods. Meaning, it is the Rabb, it is the point of emanating that energy. The Rabb of wealth, the Rabb of good harvest, the Rabb of crossing an ocean with safety. These are Arbab. And so when Christianity became the ruler's religion, 300 odd years AD, then they eradicated anything to do with Greece, that magnificent human heritage and culture, which gave rise to the Roman, but they eradicated. You can't even talk about that. So later on it was discovered via the Arabs, again, the great philosophies of Greece and so on. But it was not allowed. So same thing happened with Islam in a way. This monotheism makes people scared talking about different gods. These are godlings. These are, in the sense of Islam, they are attributes. Or so-called divine names and so on. But they're countless, it's not just. So, from that cosmic source, which is absolute, hundreds of other lights in themselves transmittive occur. So, there's no point in discussing Allah. You will never get anywhere. But discuss the attributes of Allah. You understand what generosity is. You understand what power is. You understand what knowledge is. And. These are attributes. They are like, if you like, different lords. Under the invisible Lord of all, so to speak, Allah. Now, to get back to your situation. Because of the formalization of a path, a religion, a teaching, soon arises a hierarchy and specialization. So you end up having a class of practicing, if you like, clerics or Brahmins. And they want power. And also, the majority of the people are ignorant. So they don't want them to read the scripture and make a mess of it. So that's also rational. So it ends up being in the hand of few people. And this had been the case with humanity until now. I think from now on, this will change radically. No longer valid. People have to be told that you are two, one of it is divine, the other one is less than bovine, and you have to calibrate, discover, learn, make mistakes until you are truly established in knowledge of that spectrum. One end of it is light of lights, the other end of it is shadow of darkness. And in between, you oscillate. If you are content and happy and well and have been respected, regarded, given a meal, it's nice, all is very nice. Your mood changes. And if you are the reverse, or your mood changes, you are out of job, out of this, your wife just asks you, please divorce me, I've had 40 years, 30 years, 10 years, whatever, 1 year of miserable, whatever, I will, so you say, I don't know if I am. So you oscillate from being close in picking up the energy of bliss to being crushed with darkness. This is who you are. That's why the young people will only understand something that is going to be beneficial to them. That's why the formal way of Islamic teaching or parting with the thing will not work unless you are fortunate enough to be in a remote village somewhere with few peasants. Really, then it works, still works, because that's what it was. You know, if you are barefoot with no food, no lunch, with no house, whatever, 1400 years ago style, then you understand. But nowadays, with the way people are living, which is the Western way, the last 200-300 years, it has perfected, in a way, the art of comfort and ease because of the bad weather. With that comes also constant struggle for maintaining this, maintaining that. And you find most people, most families, all families, are miserable. It's only the extent of the misery. You don't need to go to the house. You don't need to stay with them for 3 or 4 days. Just walk around and just feel the energy. The bricks tells you that these are like all other 7 or 8, whatever billion people in this world, miserable. But because there is a ruh in the person, they don't want to admit it. Not really, no, it's not so bad. It could have been worse. You know, yes, I know I've been beaten by, I'm blue, but I've at least not broken my head. It's not really so bad. Because you have to accept the transmission of your own ruh, which is divine bliss. So if it touches it, not really. But also don't tell others, you know, especially the children. I don't want to appear in front of my own children that I'm really miserable. No, don't tell them to come now, let me wipe, let me go to the bathroom again and lie more and put some stupid poisonous stuff on my face. So all that. Who are you kidding? You've been trained to lie to yourself, therefore you lie to everybody else. And then you say, no, really, I want Allah. Oh, come on, stop it, don't be stupid. You have not even begun first step towards physical, biological stability, let alone hormonal, let alone emotional, let alone. It won't work. Who are you lying to? Now, it doesn't mean you need 900 years before you touch that zone of contentment and goodness in you. No, it may move very fast. It all depends on the extent of your sincerity, honesty, loyalty, and determination and discipline. Now, you have come here with the notion of wanting to experience better and better. It's a good notion. It's a good idea. Bear in mind, you have been used habitually to a way of thinking, or fears, or worries, or anxieties, or sorrows. You've been used to that. And the mind is a very tricky entity which encourages repetition. So if you are used to being suspicious of people, you'll be more and more and more suspicious. So it is good to be able to undo all of that. And that is to do with complete and utter silence. It's a starting point. So you need to be able to get to that point. Beautiful ayah describes the way of the Prophet. Inna arsalnaka shahidan. You've been sent to witness. So how can you witness something if you are full of your own thoughts, fears, anxiety? You won't see the event. You won't see it for what it is. You're not a witnesser. You're already coming with a determined, if you like, outcome. Then the ayah says, if you don't witness, you cannot catch a glimpse of that which is the good news. Good news is that life is forever, and your life is not separate from that which is forever. Is there any better news than that? We have no fear anymore. Any moment you die, it's a relief from carrying the body, carrying the mind. So you celebrate it. And also, the olden days, the Sufis used to call that the day of death as urs, wedding. Because the outer wedding is a mockery, or at least it is some metaphor of wanting to be one. It's not true. It's the trick of nature for procreation, and that's all. Really. Oh, we love each other, it will be forever. What do you mean forever? What is forever? You're clueless. But if you say no, this is an attempt to be at one, whereas we are two, and we may partly succeed. That's not a bad idea, fine. Otherwise, you blame and claim, you think he was going to give you happiness. Happiness is for you to lose yourself and know there is only the soul. That is happiness. You're stupid. You're brought up wrongly because your parents were also stupid and carried on and on and on. That's how it is. So you have to be honest and courageous to see things for what they are. And then you come to the conclusion that the truth of it is that you want to be on the prophetic footsteps, to witness for what it is, and to bask in the good news, mubashiran, wa nadhiran, and if you don't get that true final truth of it and the light of it, you will be miserable. That is nadhiran, give warning. Wa sirajan muniran, you're alive, you're a light. It does not make much of a difference if you're told you're going to die in 5 minutes or in 50 years. Test yourself. What if you're told now you only will have 1 week? Or 2 minutes? Or 20 years? What are you the same? Is your heart the same? Or have you got work to do? You have to be honest, not easy. So I wish you the best in the coming few days. Be honest. And stop any judgment, anger, disappointment, all of these are the animal tendencies in us because they are to do with achieving. All of it is outer achievement. What is outer achievement? If you are doing your salat properly, then you declare Allahu Akbar with your hands empty. You have nothing. It's liberation. It's a touch of vastness of your own soul. But these have to be lived. It's no use preaching and teaching. It doesn't work. It is a very fine technology which has to take you to the timelessness. No time, no space. Infinite. Otherwise it becomes yet another fancy, revised, new age type of rubbish. Doesn't work. So inshallah you will benefit for your own sake, being able to at any time, anywhere, stop. Then you are at the point of connecting the infinite and the finite. Good luck to you. Thank you, Haidar. Thank you for your own sakes. Unless you help yourself truly more and more on the ladder of higher consciousness, then you are a burden upon others and upon yourself. And in truth, nobody can give you anything. Nobody can take from you anything of real value. But at best, if you have somebody whom you look up to or trust, it's like a mirror. You have to do it yourself. If anybody tells you, come to me, I can give you, run away from them. They're rascals. And spiritual materialism is the worst and the most dangerous. And it will not last long. Because the young ones are far more intelligent and they want benefit to themselves. So I don't want to be dependent on someone. I want to be dependent on something within me. That's true. So the days of rascals, spiritual, religious, is soon over. Really, it's good news. Good luck to you. And I hope Haidar will also be helpful to you, and I also would like him to write a book soon on his personal experiences on the art of silence. Silence is the begin and move and grow, or can go shrink and enter into the black hole. Black hole swallows everything that comes to it. So, Bismillah. You're fortunate to have been able to really come here and do it. And thank you. And thank you also really for making it. We're also at a time that the best of so-called religions morph into each other. That's wonderful. They take the best from each other. That's it. So once you're beginning to move higher and higher in your inner state, be in gratitude to all of the millions of years, to all of it. Goodness comes to you from everywhere, you can't tell. You're born as a Muslim, fine. Most Muslims are a disgrace to Islam and to Muhammad, honestly. But you would find also that the light of Quran is more and more effulgent and is being sought after because it's a complete package. Don't deny the little, don't deny anything. Be honest, be real, be courageous, ready to give up. And you will be entering in a state of total, utter, glorious wonderment. Bismillah. All right? Haidar Pasha. Bismillah.
If I could just, with your permission, I'd just like to share a few words.
Good.
So about 4 or 5 years ago on a visit here, I was staying in the lodges here, and I just came to a point and I said, I've had enough. I've 30 years with Sheikh and I still don't know how to disappear in my sajda. This Maghrib I'm going to go and I'm going to demand it. I'm not going to leave without me. And Sheikh, as we all know, has the ability to answer a question before you even ask it. So when I came up in the evening, Sheikh said, I don't have the facility to teach you the basic level. You have to find somewhere to learn the basics. I can't. I understood. I came back to that and I sent an email to this young man here, Shahada, and I said, can you find for me, research for me in UK, is there any Hindu or Buddhist center or somewhere where I can go for a week in silence? And he then discovered this Vipassana center that I went to.
Amazing.
Where I did the Vipassana, and what we're doing this week, inshallah, is a modification of that.
Improvement, everything can improve over the past. That is why there is this amazing arc of consciousness. No day that comes is not better than the day before. Over and over and over. The rise in human consciousness now is considerably more than it was 10 years ago. Vastly more than 50 years ago. Almost another thing than what it was 100 years ago. It's like that. I'm very pleased about that story. Now, here amongst you, Abdul Hadi, years ago, came here wanting to know the real light and essence of Sufism. Because nobody in their right mind will say, I am going to embrace Islam. He looks at the miserable Muslims who run away. But, Sufism is to do with the Muslims who trust in the Nur, trust in the Quran. They want to reform themselves and they want to be awakened and enlightened. So he came wanting Sufism. But then he went really deep into the conduct. What can you do? What can you not do? And I remember very well, after a few months being here, he produced a huge manual, beautifully done also. Every aspect of the deen. Really, for me, it was something incredible. But, so anyway, I'm mentioning it to you in case you can get him to redo it in a way that can be used by others. A manual for how? Conduct. It's all. Also, for your information, I have now the more or less the story, the table of content for a very condensed book for behavior and conduct and all of that, without it being traditional, if you like, Sharia related. All the Sharia is there. You have to have boundaries. You know how to say no. So I'm about to do that also soon. If Yusuf, who was doing it with me, didn't want to leave. So he made himself fall from the steps. That's why you need to put a sign. Because we may have other people like that. They say, I don't want to leave. So it is important for us to know the patterns of how things are, how things work, how things don't work, and the boundaries. So there's a lot of goodness, and it's all up to you. Whatever you learn, try to share it with others. Pass it on so more will come. Be more of a pipeline. Don't stop. Flow. Allah is the giver, and we are all receivers. So there you are. So there's all to do with you, Shahadat. The convergence of different world religions and accommodation and benefits is wonderful. Wonderful. That's why it's very difficult for nowadays conventional Muslim family who want to teach their children the rituals as they have been taught themselves. Not easy. And it will adjust. Things will open up in different ways. Not easy, really. There are some key questions that challenges the Muslims nowadays because of it being, in a way, a practice that remained fossilized, stuck for years. So, and that's why the Sufis are in a way they can help in modifying it, you see. Otherwise, the conventional, traditional way is a cul-de-sac. Not going to work. But there's been tremendous progress in the humanity side. So we are both human, divine. You need to get your humanity right. Correct conduct, correct adab. And the divinity is there. Humanity could only exist because of divinity. It is the celestial, terrestrial. You are a spirit and a soul, which is heavenly. It is celestial. But going through a journey that is terrestrial. Bismillah.
Bismillah.
Ya Allah. Bismillah. Bismillah. Be careful on the steps.
Sheikh, do you want coffee now? Or?
I like coffee.
Okay.
We can go down or whatever is easy.
I think down is going to be.
We'll come, good. Make the coffee down, we'll go down. How are you, Zaina?
Please be careful.
Don't fall on the steps. No excuse.
Every time I've gone down, I thought it would be nice. A little blank excuse to retain oneself here, but alhamdulillah.
No, I'll tell you what I think will happen. You will come back more leisurely and stay longer.
Alhamdulillah.
And maybe somebody, whether it's Yusuf or Maryam, or they'll be with you also.
Bismillah.
It will be nice. Maybe you also undertake something that you enjoy doing, a project of something, whatever you like to do.
With your blessings, it's in the pipeline.
I think it
With
will
your
be wonderful,
blessings.
whatever you like to do.
With your blessings, inshallah.
Anything that's touched you and that you enjoy writing, doing, whatever. Now that you know the way, now that you know, I'd like you to come.
Bismillah.
Come back. Takes you 2-3 days to set out whatever,
Bismillah.
and the rest you will. And every now and then I can nag you.
Means so much to me, Sabbath. Thank you.
Yeah. And even if you're staying a bit longer, then more than 1 or 2 of the children can come and visit you. Bismillah. Basit, was that all right? Was it one of the dogs?
Yeah, I think she was just licking and getting.
She had come here?
No, still behind the fence.
Amazing, but sounded as though she was down here.
The right shirt, she just sat on the back.
You're quite
because she
right.
followed it.
But remarkable recovery.
Very remarkable.
And
The wound is so small. It's almost.
it's keyhole surgery, you see. It's high tech.
How do they take out all of that through such a small?
It's with the tiny little thing that with the light, and they can see it. It's key. Is that remarkable?
It's quite a serious operation. And next day she's on her feet and.
Amazing, isn't it? I could hear them early morning. She was romping around with. Isn't that wonderful? Instant healing. We want things instant. We want it now. Timeless. How is my friend Dr. Zahir? Allah. You've met
Zainab.
Zainab. Yeah. She's very special, very unusual also. Really. And I also hope Yaquta will find it easy, coming, staying, going, whatever. Bismillah.
Such a blessing.
Do you think that the new book that you are doing will be useful to these young mothers? I heard you strongly when you were speaking yesterday about this responsibility of bringing a child into the world and trying to foster their development when there's many other forces that are distracting. Many of the women that I speak to are really struggling to be
Good.
good mothers.
Let them struggle more.
Yeah. But perhaps this handbook from you would be something that the children will
Not
listen to.
likely.
No, really.
Really. Not likely.
Yeah.
It's really for the tops.
Oh, I see.
And then it will filter down. No.
Inshallah.
No, whoever is a mother, they're criminal. It's a mother, it's stupid. It's the play of hormones. They're clueless. When she had her daughter, what did happen? Tell us the story. That's beautiful.
So when fast forwarding, when Maryam was born, and before as a motherhood you think, oh wonderful, this is it, and so forth, and it is indeed now looking back hormones, and she's in my hands, and suddenly I physically have something here, and it's just like a ton of bricks hit me, and I had no idea what to do, and I wept. All I did was I wept, and that was this betrayal. I felt I had betrayed this innocent, vulnerable being, and I brought her in this hostile world. These were my words at that time, and I just said, "Yeah, but I don't know what to do. I don't know. I made a mistake. I don't know what to do. You take care of it." And then I held her with me.
Amazing. Good. And that is the biggest mistake that cannot be undone. Forever, you're the mother. Forever and ever, and then the children, and then the grandchildren. Utter stupidity. Unless you are truly at one with the one. Then you become the agent of the one. And I haven't met anyone who has that. All mistakes. That's how it is. All of it is a mistake and not recoverable. So it is at best damage limitation.
Yeah.
So let's not kid ourselves. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, look, my son who's 4 years old now, he can recite Surah Fatiha. Get away from rubbish. Lie upon lie upon lie. You are a lie. If you have not discovered that you are a lie because you identified yourself with your nafs, but we know it's a lie because there is a spark of the truth in it. So wake up. Once you begin to wake up slowly by slowly, then you can see this is how it is, this is how it has been, and Allah allows it. The fact that it is allowed, it must be then there is something else behind it. Maybe a magnificent extinction. We can't tell. We don't know. Really. Farhad, how is your family?
They're good, Sheikh.
Your parents?
They're in Cape Town. We went to watch the tennis. It was a charity match between Nadal and two of the big superstars.
Give special greetings to both your parents, father and mother.
Alaikum salam.
All right. Tell him that I'm open to have a small gathering here just for his sake. Really.
Thank you.
He's very special. Alhamdulillah. There has been major changes in the human level of consciousness the last few decades. Major. And I think the biggest factor for Muslims is the emergence of the women. Because they had for centuries been most abusive people. And now it's over. So really it is, now it has been a journey in life completely under the control of one side, which is the patriarchal. It doesn't work. It could not work, and the poor woman just kept quiet. Yeah, absolutely lopsided. Only now, only the last 20 years. Especially the traditional so-called Sunnah wal Jama'ah, you see this oppressive. Oi, really. Oh. But it is better and better and better, so we have to express gratitude also. And even much better than I even thought, because now I can even smell coffee. Come Zahir, take me for coffee. He is my coffee partner. He's my special friend here, Zainab. Really. He's very special. He has not been that regular on Thursdays. Now that's a secret between us. He works so hard, and he's a very good doctor. Really super. And the idea was that once in a week, whatever, we escape, the two of us. We go to our own pub. Let's go. And have coffee. Welcome, Ya Welcome there. Welcome.